Neutralize and guide. The neutral step. Neutrality is achieved when the attacker has given up the fight. This can be confirmed by the attacker agreeing with, or making a correction to, your effort to describe their feelings and needs to them. This step must be achieved before moving to the guide step. I've said that at least 3 times, right? It's often easier to tell when you have not achieved neutrality. Some landmarks that show you still need to blend are, number 1, you feel that you are still close to fighting or fleeing, either because you are clamming up, getting defensive, or being offensive, time to go to no mind. Number 2, you notice that the person across from you still has a lot of tension around their eyes and forehead. Ask how they're feeling. And number 3, you observe that the person across from you has stopped making contribution to the dialogue. Try TENCON yet again. Keep this in mind. Neutral does not mean calm. It just means neutral. You can put a car going headlong into a wall at 90 miles an hour into neutral, and you still have to get it to stop. Neutrality is a very brief moment along the way to calm. Think of it as a train that is slowing down long enough just to change tracks. It is only the beginning of achieving calm. Now, the real work begins with your ability to guide and dialogue with your new partner. The guide step. Most of us are actually very good at guiding, but because we have spent so many years trying to guide from a place of resistance rather than from a place of neutrality, we may have mistakenly decided we are not all that effective at guiding. Additionally, our best guiding is done when we know where the other person stands. Once we have seen her point of view and know what she is actually requesting of us, guiding becomes a much simpler matter. The most critical skill to develop, if you have not yet done so, is the ability to make requests for what you need to be fulfilled in life. Making requests that are honest and not just dressing up demands in fancy clothing will be a primary focus for this section. We've already seen a few samples of the request pattern in action. The key elements are expressing what we are feeling and what we need as a result of those feelings, all of which should be based on observation, free from evaluation. Let's look at all the steps in this detailed example. Eric, the star salesperson, and Betty from the credit department. Eric: Betty, why have you refused credit to this new prospective client? You never help me out when I need it the most. Remember, never, ever, always, and even are major cues that you are being attacked. Betty: Eric, are you feeling irritated because you need to make your numbers and the creditworthiness of your prospect is standing in the way? Eric: It's more like you're standing in the way. This company received credit from us on a previous order. I don't understand why you're denying them. Betty: It sounds as if you're feeling very frustrated that this may not turn into a sale for you. Are you feeling a lot of pressure? Eric: I am. Bob's on my case and I've got to get my numbers up. You're the one person who stands between me and this sale. Neutrality has been achieved even though there is some residual hostility. Eric has exposed his pain. So here is the guide step. Betty: Eric, I want to help, but I would need to be able to talk with you candidly about this customer with open dialogue. Could I request that you give me a chance to explain my decision? Maybe together we can figure out how to make both our jobs a little easier and still take care of the customer. Eric: I guess so. It just seems like lately you've been turning down all my prospects. Betty: I wish I could approve more of your prospects. After all, when you sell more, our whole company earns more profit, which makes it better here for all of us. May I explain the reason for these turndowns? Eric: Yeah, I guess it will help to understand why they aren't creditworthy. Since many salespeople are controlling pyramids or squiggly promoters, an accounting type like Betty, who is likely to be an analyst square, needs to exercise a high level of patience in achieving a neutral position in dealing with a person like Eric. Once Eric hears that Betty really does understand his frustration and the pressure he is facing, he is more open to hearing about the job Betty must perform in order to avoid risk for her company. This attack was handled well and will result in improved relations between Betty and Eric. Here is another example, step by step. Girlfriend. Why are you feeding my kids McDonald's again? Don't you even care about their health? Boyfriend. It sounds like you're really concerned and might be thinking that I don't care about your kids. Do you need me to pick different types of food for them? Girlfriend. Yes, please. I'd appreciate it if you'd feed them healthier food like Subways or Togos. Now that the attack has been reframed as a neutral request, the right to guide has been earned. Here goes. Boyfriend. I'm feeling a little pressure because the kids are always hounding me to take them to McDonald's. Could I ask that we talk to them together and explain that we can't always eat there? This attack was handled well by the boyfriend, especially considering the complexity of taking responsibility for his girlfriend's kids from a prior relationship. As you are noticing by now, the guide step really is fairly straightforward. What makes this step difficult is our natural instinct to resist and our automatic desire to attack back. When we can look past the attack and hear the feelings and needs that drove the person to attack in the first place, it becomes much easier to let go of our need to be right and address the real issue behind the attack. I urge you to keep a journal handy and write down any confrontations that you become involved in over the next week or so. Reflect on the attacks and see if you can rewrite the scenarios based on the 3 steps: blend, neutralize, and guide, the core of the Stay Calm method. At this point, I would like to make this request. Try the Stay Calm method with the people in your life. Let them know you are attempting to communicate with better results and that you want to relate with other people more effectively. Ask for feedback from them about how you present yourself, not just what you communicate, but how you communicate. Can they tell that you are making an effort to really understand them without becoming defensive? When you have a breakdown and find yourself engaging in counterproductive behaviors in response to a verbal attack pattern, use that breakdown as an opportunity to achieve a lasting breakthrough in handling attacks of this sort. Here's another one of my sayings for this. Sometimes it's tough to see the value of a pile of manure when you're standing in it up over your eyes. Once it spreads and fertilizes new growth, the value becomes clear. At the very heart of this method is your own willingness to ask better questions, both of yourself and of the people in your life. I sincerely hope the rich information in this recording will help to provide some direction and a few tools to use in achieving greater harmony in your relationships and within you. Reflecting on the Stay Calm method. Stay Calm allows us to install a new option called Harmonize that will make it possible for us to see past verbal attacks and hear the real issue behind the attack. It is our sincere effort to understand our would-be opponent that enables us to blend with them, seeing things from their perspective and achieve a neutral state wherein the fight ends. The blend step is accomplished most effectively by observing other people's behaviors without evaluating them. Separating the behaviors we observe from our judgment about those behaviors makes it much easier to stay calm and connect with the other person in a way that avoids blame and anger. Once we have accomplished a state of neutrality, evidenced by our attacker acknowledging or adjusting our assessment of their feelings and needs, we have earned the right to guide them to understand our own feelings and needs. The goal is to partner with our attacker and look together at other possible solutions to the issue. The guide step is fairly natural for most of us and is accomplished most effectively by becoming expert at making requests without being demanding. This skill takes very little time to develop and enables us to build trusting relationships based on honesty and compassion. Quick reference to Stay Calm. Upon hearing an attack, the words never, ever, always, and even are usually in the pattern. Think 10 con. This is an anchor that will remind you to blend, Make an effort to determine what the other person is feeling and what needs are not being met. Remember, use the 4 cornerstones and the personality quadrant to quickly determine what the attacker is really trying to do: change your behaviors, achieve their own goals, not be wrong, or get you to like them. Neutralize. Attacker makes a shift and acknowledges or makes adjustments to your assessment of their feelings and needs. Remember, do not try to guide until you have achieved a state of neutrality, since it will only meet with more resistance. If the attacker is still resistant, return to the blend step. Guide. Make a request based on your feelings and needs in the situation. Do it without demanding and be open to seeking different options to create a solution in partnership with your ex-opponent. Remember, your ability to be compassionate and honest will create lasting trust in the relationship.